It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Magical day to all. Welcome to Divas That Care Network. I am Joyce Benning, and I will be your host for this absolutely magical, robust lifestyle show. I would like to thank each one of the listeners that are listening to this podcast on the numerous different platforms. I am just so very grateful and thankful for each and every one of you. And as I said, you are in for one magical show today, as I have with me two incredible returning divas, Dawn Phoenix and Regyna Curtis. And the three of us are going to chat about activate and attune. Oh my, is this going to be one fabulous show? And with that, would each one of you please like to briefly introduce yourself to our listeners today?
Dawn, why don't you go first?
Okay. And then you can go into our topic. Awesome. So hi, everybody. I'm Dawn Phoenix. I am an intuition ignition catalyst, and I help connect entrepreneurs into their intuition so that they can create the most aligned plan for them with their business and the rest of their life.
Beautiful.
Yes.
I'm Regyna Curtis. I'm a soul rhythm activator. So I also work with entrepreneurs, often multi-passionate entrepreneurs, in aligning with the rhythm of their soul, their unique energy cycle that happens each year. I call it your annual cycle of development. And using that knowledge to attune, I'll use that term since we're going to be talking to it, attuning to that rhythm and then able to align their actions with it for ease, flow, and more joy.
Oh, wow. You two are both totally in service to others to make this world a better place. And oh my, that's why you fit in so beautifully with Divas That Care, because that's exactly what it is. And you're two beautiful divas. So with that, I will just let Regyna kind of start and take off with activate and attune with our listeners.
Beautiful. So first of all, thank you again for having us on. It's always such a joy to be here with you. And I just echo everything you just said about us back right to you. And so activate and attune is a topic that I talk about a lot with my clients, because what you're doing is you're attuning to the frequency of your own energy. And when you do that, you activate those rhythms, you activate the ability to work with them. And so I want to actually kind of talk about a little bit the word attune. So I'll start with a brief story that is when I went to, I started taking Reiki practitioner courses. And when you learn Reiki, you go through something called an attunement. And what happens is you sit with the teacher, right, who's teaching you, and you get attuned to the frequency of Reiki so that then you can use that energy. You can access that energy. And I remember when I was going through this process thinking, but wait a minute, if Reiki is life force energy and I am made from life force energy, then how can I not access this without the permission of someone else, right? And I had that idea of it was being given to me, granted to me, right? I was being given access to this. But really what was happening is when you sit in the company of any master teacher, right, of anything, and that can be energetic teaching, or it can be something even more physical, you are picking up the frequency of that energy. They are radiating that energy in a more magnified, amplified way. And therefore, it's more accessible to you. So then you can feel it, you can see it, you can activate your relationship with it on a deeper level. on a higher level, right? It's not that they are handing you something like a key and now you have access to it. It's more like they're activating that within you. Maybe it was dormant, maybe it was just there, but you didn't have the awareness. So maybe they're activating the awareness and helping you attune to it, right? So just like if you have ever, I don't know, with satellite radio, you may not know this as well, but I'll show my age a little bit here. When you were listening to like AM, FM radio, and you could kind of hear the station and you had to just kind of like, turn the dial a little bit one way or another. So it was just picking up a slightly different radio wave, right? You're attuning to that particular channel, that particular wave or frequency. And then you found it really clearly, right? And maybe as you're driving down the road, you actually had to like turn that dial a little more because as you're moving down the road, your position changes. And so you need to attune a little bit differently. And that's really what's happening. And that's what I do with my clients in attuning to that energy that's within them that already exists. It's just bringing it in more clearly and more accurately so that you can then work with it in a really more powerful way.
Oh, wow. And that is so interesting because you said you're basically activating you're attuning to your own energy to activate your own energy that is
Yeah.
within
You're
you.
attuning to your own energy to activate your own power, right? Your own ability to be empowered within that, to work powerfully with it.
That is incredible. They always say everything you need is right there within inside of you. And that's
Absolutely.
exactly what you're saying right there.
Yeah.
So, Dawn, what comes to your mind when you say activate and attune?
Well, it's so funny because while Regyna was talking about, the attunement process with Reiki, it made me think of when I was going through my dolphin energy healing practitioner training. We got what were called attunements. We went through 7 of them. Usually it was one a month, and we needed an hour, right, a month in between to really bring in and integrate that energy. And so for us, we would sit for an hour with Linda Shea, who was the facilitator, and she would channel the dolphins' energy to us depending on the level that we were at. So if it was maybe your last attunement, it was the most powerful. And all of the attunements that had happened before were basically like smaller IV drips of the dolphin energy coming into yours that each time would help you raise your own frequency so that you could hold a broader, wider beam of light within your being at that frequency that the dolphins carry. And so we were attuning ourselves to the frequency of the dolphin energy, and that activated within us the higher abilities that we were capable of having, at each level. And so again, it's that whole process of attuning to something that is already within you, but that you're just widening your ability to process or to hold. And then that activates even more gifts that you get to share with the world. And I think that helps other people to do the same thing in turn.
I love that.
Oh, yeah. I love that too. That is so beautiful because how true it is. Once you activate that energy, I myself would call it my heart energy. And it's amazing then what power that comes from that. And
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
I love it. I can't help but think about this very tangible example of the three of us coming together for this call, right? And I think this is exactly, it's like such a beautiful example of what's happening anytime you attune to someone to a frequency that it's not necessarily outside of you. It is just activating your capacity. So when you said the capacity to hold, you have within you that capacity. It's just up leveling it's expanding or allowing you to access that higher level of capacity and embody that and practice doing it. So we've done this podcast a couple of times together, and so we have there's a certain joy, when we come in there's a few seconds that we have before we hit record, and as we all drop into this space, the energy just lifts up, right? It's this joy that is palpable in seeing each other and sharing the space and gathering the excitement, bringing our own excitement in. And I think that's something that everyone has an experience of in some way, right?
Mhm.
Think about right now. Just think about who is that person in your life that just brings you joy. All you have to do is just even think about them, and it just brings a smile to your face, right? I'm looking at Joyce and Dawn, and I can see their faces smiling, right? Just thinking about that person brings a smile to your face. When you go into the same room as them, right, the level of energy just lifts up. And what is happening is your energy and their energy are matching, and you're rising to this like higher level frequency. And even though it's not it's something that you already have within you and you may be really familiar with, when you're doing these kind of attunements with these spiritual practices and techniques and things like that, it may not be an energy that you're accustomed to already, but it is something that you have the capacity within you to embody. And I think that's what's really important to remember.
Yeah.
What's coming to mind, Joyce, I'm thinking of you here, is the human horse heart connection. The research that they've done where they will place a human and a horse in a field together, and just by the human sitting, doing nothing, not touching the horse, not talking to the horse, just sitting in the horse's presence long enough. I think it would maybe be a half hour or something like that. I'd have to read it again. But they will monitor the human's brain waves and the horse's brain waves. And it's the exact phrasing where after enough time, the human brain waves attune to the horse's brain waves. And then that unlocks and activates within us healings that we were not really capable of processing for ourselves prior to that attunement process.
Yeah.
So the horses bring us up to their level, but if we weren't capable of doing it, then it wouldn't happen. Just like what you're saying, Regyna. Thank you, horses.
Yes,
Yes,
you,
thank
horses.
you. They're very powerful and healing beings for sure. Yeah.
Definitely. Well, yeah, when you were think of a human that brings you joy, first thing comes to my mind is the animals.
Beautiful. Yes. I should have said a being instead of a
I thought
person.
of Manitou, my dog. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was thinking of my dog and my horses, and I'm like, yeah, they all bring me so much joy, and
Absolutely.
just seeing them just brings energy into me. I always say it's just, it renews my soul and gives me the energy that I need to just go and even give them a hug, or just be with them.
Absolutely. I mean, that is an even better example, right? Maybe than even humans, because humans we have our own baggage and emotional things that we're dealing with, and but animals really are that pure light, like that pure energy. They have the capacity to and I love that you brought in the horses, right? Because they help us rise our energy to their frequency. And as humans, I think this is actually a really important thing. Sometimes when we know that there's a person in our world that they're going through something difficult or challenging, right? We want to go and cheer them up. We want to help them to lift their spirits, right? If you think of all these phrases that we use as humans, there's so many, like they are telling you exactly what's happening in the energetic world. And yet we slap the title cliche on them and we're like, oh, that's just like this cliche saying. No, it's actually telling you exactly what is happening in this situation. You want to lift their spirits, but the thing is, you don't have to say anything. It's not about what you say or how you say it. It's about bringing your energy into that space to share compassion and share love and share time and space with them. And that alone is all that's needed to lift their spirits. You holding that energy of that light, of that joy and love, and all of the things that they are needing and wanting and craving maybe in that moment, but not in that really like false not false way, but like the surface level. It's not about like cheer up soon kind of thing, but it's about be where you are and be in that energy of feeling what you need to feel. And yet let me bring this presence to you and just sit here with you. And by me just sitting here with you and holding my energy strongly in that capacity that I know that you have, it actually is going to help you rise to that frequency as well. And that is what we learn from the animal spirits, right? The animals, they do that for us. When we walk in the door and our dog's tail is wagging or a kitty comes up and it's like telling you about their day, right? Whatever it is, they just naturally do that.
Yeah. It just comes natural to the animals, where I think sometimes us as humans, we have to think about it a little bit. Or like if you walk, sometimes you may be smiling and you are not even realizing how much energy that is radiating off to
Yes.
someone else that maybe needed to see that smile today. And it that is one example that came to my mind right away when we were talking about giving energy off. And I always think about a smile, because when somebody walks in and they're smiling, it's a warm feeling.
Contagious, right?
It is
Yeah.
contagious.
So I think what you said is actually maybe the opposite of that, right? We don't have to think about it. We do these things naturally.
Yeah.
We absolutely do them naturally. It's when we think about it that we actually work against our natural like inclination. We move into that conditioning of, oh, this is a horrible example. Well, maybe not a horrible example. Maybe it's a really realistic and tangible example for people. But I remember, I grew up in the 80s, and there was like stranger danger was like a big thing, a big topic happening. I mean, it always is and probably always will be, but maybe not, hopefully not. Wouldn't that be great?
Yes.
And at the same time, child of the 80s, grew up with that idea of stranger danger, right? And so when you just naturally have that inclination to smile at people, and I definitely have that. My partner says I have resting nice face. You've probably heard of like resting pitch face, but like that phrase, right? Hopefully I wasn't probably supposed to say that, but you've heard of that phrase of like having that scowl, that natural scowl, right? Like, but if you actually have resting nice face, then you smile, like you see somebody and you have that heart connection and you smile. And that is the natural thing. But then what comes in is that, I was taught I'm not supposed to smile at strangers because that could be dangerous. And that's when the conditioning kicks in.
Yeah.
Over that natural inclination.
So true. Yes.
I'm thinking Jimmy Buffett, he posthumously released his last album. And one of the songs on there is called Like My Dog Does. And he's basically, the character in the song is begging his partner to love me. Why don't you love me like my dog does, baby? He says she doesn't cost a thing when she wants to go out. When I come home late, she doesn't say, where the heck have you been? And he says, every time I come home, she's happy to see me. Like, why can't you do that?
I love it.
So it's just reminding me of that.
Yeah.
And the animals, they're just so honest. They don't put on any pretenses. They're who they are. And it just comes so natural to them. I mean, last night I was fixing supper and here comes my little red heeler and lays right down on my feet. It's like she wanted to be right there. And I was like, this is awesome. She's showing her love and compassion right at this moment. She didn't ask permission. She didn't ask if she could come in there. There she was.
Yeah. I love it. And I think that's the case with the angel energies and spirit energies, right? Like they are always there. We have the capacity to access them if we can get quiet enough and still enough to actually open our energy enough to access it, right? It's not that they aren't there. It's that we have that tendency to kind of close ourselves in, right? And Dawn, you were saying that a certain amount of time, right, is needed to sit with the horse before you attune to that frequency. But I bet you that people who are already attuned to that frequency, just like when you meditate on a regular basis, you can access those frequencies so much faster, almost in an instant, right? Because it is something that you are attuned to. It's something that you are practiced in accessing. And so you become fluent in that frequency. You really know how to tune into it, to be in it, to speak it, to allow it to speak to and through you, right? And so someone who spends all day, every day with the horses is going to attune to that frequency a lot faster than someone who is not, right? Because they have to actually quiet their mind, allow their energy to be present, to drop in, to ground into the space and place and time where they are, and then open up that frequency, open up the capacity. So when somebody, whether it is that they're spending time with horses, right, whether they are spending time in prayer or in meditation, the more time you spend dedicated to or devoted to connecting with that energy, the more you are actually going to be able to receive from it, the clearer you're going to be able to receive the messages and the insights coming through it, the more you're going to feel confident in taking action in alignment with that or from that space of embodiment with it. And so the more time you actually devote to something, the more it becomes devoted to you, right? It becomes this devotional practice. And
I
that,
completely agree.
Yes.
awesome.
Sorry, I thought you were done, Regyna.
No. I was gonna say, and that changes you, right? Like that changes everyone and everything around you and how you interact with it. So that was really well, I was gonna say.
I was gonna talk about my beautiful visitor I had earlier this week,
Yeah.
who may still be out on my balcony. I was blessed after going out on my balcony Monday night, to retrieve a flip-flop that I had spilled stuff on, and it was out there drying. Had I never spilled anything, which really was stressing me out, on the shoe, I would not have been out on my balcony at 11 o'clock at night. And yet there I was. And as soon as I opened the sliders, there was a praying mantis on my third floor suburban balcony. And I was okay. Wow. Took lots of pictures, took some video, and I was messaging John, my former partner. We're still close, and we talk about these kinds of things. And he was like, I'm like, this is for my newsletter. I'm like, I have to get a message from Mantis. And he's like, okay. So he messages me and he's like, so try these breathing techniques. And it's very specific. And I'm like, shh, hold on. I'm getting messages. I'm like, I'm on it. And I was like, I don't want it. I said, if I do a breathing technique, that's going to distract me. I'm like, I'm already dialed in. So because for me as an animal communicator, and I do this so often anyway, just like you said, I was already there. So to do something else would have just been a distraction.
Yeah.
To that process. So we know where we are. And sometimes we don't know where we are until somebody shows up and mirrors that back to us. And then by somebody, I mean a being who shows up.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
And it's been a couple days and they're still here. They had 3 bugs they were hunting yesterday on my screen. So I had Wild America outside and I said, I'm going out on the balcony to put my laundry out there because this is their sacred space and I want to let them have it. And so that was what I agreed to say. This is your space. Please let me honor you, and let this continue, that I can receive this beautiful energy you're sharing with me without being out there and bothering you. So.
Beautiful.
Oh,
Thank you, Mantis.
I love it. Joyce, what comes up for you when you think of this energy of activating and tuning? What's the message that's coming through you today?
It's the message I always feel is be in that heart space when you're wanting to attune to your own energy. And it's just like when I'm with the animals. I mean, let go of all the to-dos and what you think you need to do. And my horses have always said to ditch your cell phones. Don't even bring them around us. And
No, thank you.
so it's letting go of all the technology, all of the things that we think we need to do, and
Mhm.
just be out there and be with them or be out in nature. It was just like the other evening when it was dark out and the stars were out and I was out with my horses, and I got on, asked if I could get on one of their backs, and he says, "Yes, I can always hold you." And I got up there and laid down on him and just looked at the stars. I mean, yeah, there were 1,000 things I should have been doing, but I was like, no, I'm going to just attune to what I feel in my heart, and just feeling his energy and his sacred space. It just renewed me and activated
Mm,
me to feel so much better. It was a beautiful experience. So
I
yeah.
can feel it. I love it. That's so beautiful.
Delicious.
Yeah. And honestly, laying down that like puts you heart to heart, right?
Uh-huh.
It brought your hearts into alignment in an even more powerful way. I think that's so beautiful. Often my cat will, when he can tell when I'm having a rough day, or even
Mhm.
the other day I was on a call with Dawn and she was having kind of a rough time, and Cooper came and got on my shoulder and went heart to heart with me, right?
Oh,
Because it was like he could feel that
yes.
connection. Um, and I think even just through helping me to kind of, uh, regulate that energy, come back to that centered place, because I was supporting Dawn through that time. And so then that connection was happening. And so
Mhm.
even if it's not even the people who are physically in the room with us, whether we're connected to them spiritually, energetically, digitally, whatever the thing may be, they are such powerful healers.
Yes. Animals are. It's incredible. I always say they're so much further advanced and further along in their spiritual journey,
Oh
because
yeah.
they are there and they're living it.
Mhm.
And it's just like when you tap into it with them, oh my, you
Yeah.
it is a beautiful, beautiful experience. It's magical is what I call it.
It's magical. It's funny. I keep saying this same phrase today. It's magical when you allow it to be, right? Like
Uh-huh.
it really is magical when you allow it to be.
Yes.
Um, I love that so much.
And one of my angels has told me magic is everywhere because I am always with you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so true. And you
So true.
just look around and it's there. It's just like attuning into your energy and activating your power.
Yeah,
The magic is right
it's
there
right.
lying inside of you.
So I know we're probably coming to the end. It feels like I always start to feel this like bring it back in kind of moment. And so what I am getting is to just kind of bring it back to that first story that I told about being in those Reiki attunements, right? And thinking about the what we just talked about with animals and these different energies, they are healing us, right? They are just through their presence, the presence are in the presence, right? Like that's where you find the gifts of everything, is when you are present with it. And that is really what that healing energy is. So whether it is Reiki or healing touch or dolphin energy or horse, healing sessions or whatever it may be, that energy of the healing really is about accessing and expanding the capacity within yourself to raise your own frequency. And when you raise your own frequency, then that is what does the healing part in the physical, in the emotional, in the mental, in all of the realms. And so when you think of someone as a healer, whether you believe, whether you know yourself as a healer or not, not necessarily to believe it, but if you know that that's true, right? If you know yourself as a healer or you know someone else as a healer, it really is about emanating that frequency so that others can activate that within themselves and attune to that frequency and practice being in it.
Yes. Oh, how beautifully said to wrap it all together. That was beautiful. And yes, we are coming to the close again, which it goes all
Oh,
too
so
quickly
quick.
every time. And I would love to have both of you return to Robust Lifestyle so we can
Yay.
continue to share with the listeners and you two share your knowledge with them.
Beautiful. It's
Thank
always
you,
a pleasure.
Awesome. So with that, before we do close, I'll let Regyna, would you please share the best ways to connect with you? And then Dawn, I'd love for you to share also.
Absolutely. So you can connect with me on my website. It's www.atmaitri.com. And I actually have a quiz on my website about attuning to your own soul wisdom language. So I talk often about my Charting Your Course workshop, which is attuning to that soul rhythm energy. But this is about attuning to the ways that your soul speaks to and through you, to those different frequencies. So that I'm feeling called to mention that one on today's podcast. So all of that can be found on my website.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So my website is www.dawnphoenix.org, and my last name is Phoenix. And one of the offerings I have on there is my Tapping into Your Business's Inner Wisdom workshop, and I hold that once a month. So it's coming up for September on the 25th, and then it'll be in October, also in November, and into the end of the year. But what I help you do is you tap into your own intuition to connect with your business as a being, just like you are. And so you're able to attune to your business's frequency and energy to receive information from your business. So that is a way that I work with the whole activation, process with people when we attune to something, a thing, our business.
Beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much. You two both give so much, just even through your things like that on your website. How beautiful. And I want to wish both of you magical days until we all connect again here on Robust Lifestyle Show.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. And I want to thank all of our listeners for listening to this magical show with our two incredible divas, Dawn Phoenix and Regyna Curtis. Please share this show with your family and friends. Check out all the other hosts and their shows on divasthatcare.com. And remember, activate and attune. Attuning to the frequency of your own energy activates the power within inside of you. And just always remember that it is right there within you, and angels are always all around you, just right there to help you. And with that, I want to wish all of you a very, very magical day. Remember, give your animals a great big extra hug and share all your love with them as they so deserve it. Until we connect again on Robust Lifestyles, stay strong and healthy.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.